You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Today is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021, and this is your daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. On today's show, Star Trek Strange New Worlds producer Akiva Goldsman promises a return to Adventure of the Week storytelling. The Nichelle Nichols documentary Woman in Motion is coming this summer to Paramount+, and I've got this week's magical Star Trek trivia. I'm Alison Pitt, and today's show is supported by people like you through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News. First up today, with Star Trek Strange New Worlds officially in production since March, executive producer and co-showrunner Akiva Goldsman has been busy of late, balancing his time between both the Anson Mount-led series and the second season of Star Trek Picard. While speaking with The Hollywood Reporter in an interview published yesterday, Goldsman gave audiences just a little more peek at what to expect from Strange New Worlds. It's unlike the other shows in that it's really episodic, Goldsman said in the interview, something that Star Trek boss Alex Kurtzman promised Star Trek fans back in August of 2020. Goldsman remarked that the original series would regularly feature a horror episode, hard sci-fi, or the occasional comedy, and it seems to be a formula he and fellow showrunner Henry Alonso Myers are looking to emulate with Strange New Worlds. We've all become very enamored, myself included, with serialized storytelling, Goldsman told THR, adding, but Strange New Worlds is very much Adventure of the Week, but with serialized character arcs. Goldsman is not only producing and serving as co-runner, he's also directing the pilot episode of the new series. Calling the experience super fun, Goldsman said that due to limits placed on the number of people on set because of the COVID-19 pandemic, there are still a few scenes that need to be filmed. There is something extraordinary about a bunch of folks coming together to work on a new series, he said of the pilot. You're surrounded by people who would be perfectly happy to be on the floor of a Star Trek convention, which is a little different than a typical show. But what will Star Trek Strange New Worlds look like? On Star Trek Discovery, audiences have already met our lead characters, Captain Pike, Number 1, and Spock. When we get to see them again in Strange New Worlds, however, things might look just a little different. Here's what Goldsman had to say about the changes. Obviously, we want to keep continuity with the storytelling and the style, but we also want Strange New Worlds to be a different show. It's not Discovery. There are a few more reach-backs to the original series, and the uniforms have been adjusted slightly. The sets are slightly different. Remember, the Enterprise existed as a little piece of Star Trek Discovery, but now it's its own object. When you close your eyes and think of the key sets and situations that you think of the original series, that's what we're looking to do. Now, it's going to be a little while yet before we get to see Strange New Worlds come to life on television screens. Viacom CBS has confirmed that Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2, Star Trek Discovery Season 4, and the new Star Trek Prodigy will all air in 2021, but there's been no confirmation so far of a release date for Strange New Worlds. But until then, you can catch up on all your favorite episodes and films from across the Star Trek franchise, available for streaming on Paramount+. Now, speaking of cool stuff on Paramount+, the Nichelle Nichols documentary Woman in Motion is coming to Paramount+ this summer. The documentary, directed by filmmaker Todd Thompson and distributed by Shout Factory, tells the story of how Nichols, who portrayed Uhura on Star Trek, made the leap from science fiction to science fact and had a real-world impact on NASA's space program. Now Star Trek fans and new audiences alike will be able to watch the film alongside Nichols' most famous role, as it debuts on streaming platform Paramount+ this coming June 3rd. The announcement came as part of Star Trek's First Contact Day panels last Monday. Host Mika Burton, daughter of Star Trek's Geordie LaForge actor LeVar Burton, introduced the film's trailer as the lead-in to the day's Woman in Motion panel, which had actors Issa Briona's Michelle Hurd Dawn Lewis and Sonequa Martin Green, discussing their views on the impact Nichols had on society. According to the documentary's synopsis, in 1977, with just 4 months left, NASA struggles to recruit scientists, engineers, and astronauts for their new space shuttle program. That is when Nichelle Nichols, Star Trek's Lieutenant Uhura, challenges them by asking the question, "Where are my people?" She embarks on a national blitz recruiting 8,000 of the nation's best and brightest, including the trailblazing astronauts who became the first African American, Asian, and Latino men and women to fly in space. In addition to interviews with Nichols herself, Women in Motion also features interviews with several notable names. The list includes fellow Star Trek alumni George Takei, Walter Koenig, and Michael Dorn, as well as scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson, performers Pharrell Williams and Vivica A. Fox, and producer and civil rights attorney Benjamin Crumb. You can rent or buy Women in Motion now on multiple streaming services, including Amazon Prime Video. Or you could also just wait until June 3rd, when it'll be free to watch with your Paramount Plus subscription. Now, I've got Trek Trivia Tuesday here in just a moment, but first, a word from me. Daily Star Trek news is growing, which means that we need more people. I'm currently recruiting for 2 new writers, one to write the daily news and one to write our trivia and history segments. Both roles will take a few hours of your time each week, and both come with a small monthly stipend. So if you think you've got something to contribute to the show, then please reach out. Send an email to info@dailystartreknews.com and I'll send you more information. Once again, that's info@dailystartreknews.com, and I look forward to hearing from you. Now, it's Tuesday, which makes it Trek Trivia Tuesday. Did you know Ensign Pavel Chekhov was not in the first season of Star Trek? The first episode he appeared in was the second season episode Cat's Paw. In Walter Koenig's memoirs, Beaming Up and Getting Off, Life Before and Beyond Star Trek, he acknowledges the discontinuity that created in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, because he didn't appear to be on the ship when Khan first visited the Enterprise in the first season episode Space Seed. But Koenig didn't mention it to producers because he knew they might have to rewrite his part and lessen his role in order to resolve it. That led to one of the biggest plot holes in all Star Trek, Khan looking at Chekhov on SETI Alpha 5 and saying, "I never forget a face." So now a trivia question for you. Going back to the episode Cat's Paw, the mysterious and magical events that Kirk and Co. encountered on Pyrus 7 were caused by 2 alien beings in humanoid form. In true TOS form, they were dead by the time Kirk was done with them. But what were their names? Find out on Friday's episode of Daily Star Trek News. Well, that's it for today's Daily Star Trek News from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Don't forget to check out the other great shows on the network at podcasts.roddenberry.com. Daily Star Trek News is produced by me, Alison Pitt, with selected stories by Chris Peterson. We're supported by people like you through Patreon. Find out how you can add your support at patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News. And finally, please make sure that you're signed up for the Daily Star Trek newsletter at dailystartreknews.com/contact. Get all the day's Star Trek news delivered straight to your inbox every weekday morning. I'm back tomorrow with more of the Star Trek news you need to know, and this week in Trek history. I'm Alison Pitt. Live long and prosper.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.